All right, so we're getting you ready for an HVAC and a refrigeration drafter interview, and we've got some great resources from RoleCatcher to help with that.
Yeah, we're talking career guides, sample interview questions, even information about how their AI can help you tailor your answers for specific job postings.
Exactly. So we'll break down what this role really is, and then we'll go through some of those tricky interview questions so you can stand out from the crowd.
It's really interesting, this job, how it blends technical drawing skills with real-world problem solving.
Yeah.
Because you're taking an engineer's vision for a building's climate control systems, and then you're turning that into blueprints, so
Right, it's making it a
we're
reality.
making it a reality.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive into some of those common interview questions. I know RoleCatcher has 10 of them,
They do?
so I think if we tackle those, it'll give us a good framework for this deep dive.
Okay.
So the first one is pretty straightforward. What experience do you have in creating HVACR designs?
So this is your time to showcase all your experience, but think beyond just like listing job titles. Right. Think about projects from your courses, from internships, even personal projects that demonstrate your skills.
Okay.
So maybe you designed a system for like your workshop or something,
Yeah.
that counts. And then when you can quantify your accomplishments, like if your design improved efficiency or maybe reduced material costs,
Oh, interesting.
those details can make a big difference.
That's a good point. Instead of just saying, I designed this, you can say, I designed this, and because of that, it had this impact.
Exactly.
I like that a lot. Okay, what about the next question? How do you approach creating HVACR designs that meet building codes and regulations?
Okay.
This one I feel like is less about what you know and more about how you approach the work.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because the interviewer is looking to see that you understand the importance of codes and that you have a system for making sure they're incorporated into your work.
Uh-huh.
So maybe you could talk about a time when you had to redesign a system because a new energy efficiency standard came out.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can talk about what challenges you faced and how you adapted to meet that.
So it's showcasing your problem-solving skills
Yeah.
and your adaptability within the context of those regulations.
Exactly.
Love it. Okay. This next one is interesting. How do you ensure the accuracy and completeness of your HVACR designs?
Right.
It seems like they're trying to get at your attention to detail in your process.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
This is your chance to really highlight how meticulous you are in your work.
Okay.
Do you have a system for peer reviews? Do you use software that does error checking?
Right.
Maybe you have like a personal checklist that you go through before you finalize a design.
Ooh, I like that personal checklist.
Yeah,
It's like showing that you take ownership.
exactly. It shows you're committed to quality.
All right, moving on to teamwork. How do you collaborate with other team members, like engineers and architects, when creating HVACR designs?
Okay.
So this one feels like it's all about communication.
It absolutely is. And don't just say you're a team player. Give them concrete examples of how you collaborate. So did you facilitate a design review meeting? Did you have to resolve a conflict between the technical needs and the aesthetics of a building?
Right.
Those specifics will really help your answer have a bigger impact.
So paint a picture for them of how you effectively communicate and collaborate.
Exactly.
Okay, great. This next one is all about problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give an example of an HVACR design project you worked on that required creative problem solving?
Oh, I love this one.
Tell me a story.
Yes. Pick an anecdote that's really compelling and showcases your ability to think outside the box.
Right.
So really walk the interviewer through the problem. What was your thought process? What solution did you implement? Did you have to weigh factors like cost and efficiency and the way it looks?
Right.
Let them see your brain working.
Oh, I love that. It's not just about what you did, but how you got to that solution.
Exactly.
Shows a deeper level of understanding.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit with this one. How do you stay up to date on new HVACR technologies and trends? So I feel like this is where you demonstrate your commitment to your own professional development.
Yeah. Do you subscribe to industry publications? Are you going to conferences or webinars?
Mm-hmm.
What about online communities or forums? Are you a part of any of those?
Yeah.
Definitely mention any courses or certifications that you've pursued, especially any that RoleCatcher highlights.
Okay.
So things like LED Green Associate or Certified Energy Manager.
Yeah, those certifications are great because it really demonstrates your dedication to the field and staying current. And I know they look good on resumes.
Yes, they do.
Which actually brings us to something really cool about RoleCatcher. They have this AI
Yes.
that can actually analyze job descriptions to show how well your resume aligns with what they're looking for.
Yeah, it's like having a career coach right in your pocket.
I like that.
It can pinpoint your strengths and then suggest areas where you might need to improve.
That's awesome, and it's a fantastic tool for tailoring your application to each specific job.
Ab-
And I love that a lot of RoleCatcher's basic features are free, so you can start using their AI-powered tools right away without any cost.
That's right.
Okay, so now back to the interview questions. This next one is a scenario. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot an HVACR system that wasn't working properly?
Okay.
So this one really gets at your practical experience and problem-solving skills.
It does. So you want to describe the issue, how you went about diagnosing it, and
Yeah.
the steps that you took to resolve it. So really focus on your logical thinking skills and your communication skills.
Right.
And did you have to work with others to find the solution?
So walk them through your process, highlight those key skills. And I think storytelling is so crucial in interviews
Yeah.
because it makes your responses memorable and it helps the interviewer connect with you on a more personal level.
You're absolutely right. People remember stories much more than just, straight facts.
Facts and figures.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next one. How do you ensure that safety considerations are integrated into your HVACR designs? This feels particularly important in a field where you're designing systems that impact people's health and well-being.
Exactly. So showcase your commitment to safety by talking about how familiar you are with all the relevant regulations and then all the proactive measures that you take to address any potential hazards.
Okay.
So maybe you always double check the clearances around the equipment, or you make sure that there's adequate ventilation to prevent carbon monoxide buildup.
Right. Those specific examples show that safety is not just an abstract concept to you.
Exactly.
It's an integral part of your design philosophy.
Right, and it shows how professional you are and your commitment to creating systems that are safe and functional.
Okay, 2 more questions to go from this set.
Okay.
This next one is about juggling multiple projects.
Yeah.
How do you approach managing multiple HVACR design projects simultaneously? So I imagine organization, time management are key here.
Absolutely. Explain your strategies for prioritization, how you meet your deadlines. And this is really important, how you communicate clearly about all of that. So do you use project management software? Do you have a system for tracking your progress and then communicating updates to everyone?
Sure.
Really show them that you're not just, winging it.
Right.
You have a system in place to manage all of it effectively.
So transparency and clear communication are essential, especially when working on multiple projects at the same time.
For sure.
Okay, last question from this set. How do you approach training and mentoring junior HVACR drafters?
All right, so this one's all about your leadership potential.
Okay.
Highlight your approach to providing guidance and feedback and how you foster professional development in others.
Okay.
Have you created any training programs? What's your style of mentorship? Do you empower junior drafters to take ownership of their work?
Right.
Share all those insights and show them that you're invested in helping other people grow.
That's a really valuable quality in a team member, especially someone who's aspiring to a leadership role. And speaking of growth, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about career trajectory. Where can this role take you in the long run?
So RoleCatcher outlines some really exciting paths. You could move up from entry level to senior drafter and then eventually even lead your own design team.
Wow.
You could go into project management, research and development, even sales or consulting.
That's what I love about this field.
Right.
It's not a dead end. It's like a springboard.
Right.
You can specialize in a certain type of system, like residential, commercial, or industrial. You can go into sustainability, green building design. The possibilities are endless.
They are. And remember, continuous learning is really key here because technology is always evolving.
That's true. So staying ahead of the curve is crucial.
It is.
Which is where RoleCatcher's AI can really come in handy.
Yeah.
Because it can even provide feedback on your interview answers.
That's right.
Suggest areas for improvement and help you fine-tune your delivery. It's like having a mock interview with an expert who can pinpoint what you need to work on.
Exactly. And that feedback can be so valuable.
Yeah.
It can help you pinpoint any nervous habits you might have, refine the language that you're using, and just boost your overall confidence.
So you can practice your answers, get that AI-powered feedback, and tailor those responses to specific job descriptions. It's like a secret weapon.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground so far, but we've got even more interview scenarios to explore. Let's take a quick breather and come back ready to dive into those more advanced questions.
Sounds good. Welcome back. Let's continue exploring these interview scenarios with a focus on those trickier questions that really test your knowledge and your problem-solving skills.
Okay, so let's say the interviewer wants to get a sense of your understanding of the industry as a whole.
Okay.
They might ask something like, what are some of the biggest challenges facing the HVACR industry today? And how do you see your role as a drafter addressing those challenges?
So this is a great chance to show that you're not just focused on the technical parts of the job, but that you're really aware of the bigger picture. You know, the career guide talks about the growing demand for buildings that are more energy efficient, the increasing use of sustainable technologies, and the rise of smart buildings and the Internet of Things, you know.
Yeah.
Those are all huge trends that are shaping the industry.
So I could talk about the challenges of designing systems that meet those stricter energy codes or incorporate renewable energy sources like solar or geothermal.
Exactly. And you could also mention the complexities of integrating HVACR systems with building automation systems. You know, that's becoming more and more important in this age of smart buildings.
Yeah, it sounds like it's all about being forward-thinking and eager to embrace innovation.
It is.
Okay, so now let's switch to a question that's more focused on personal development. What are your career goals, and how do you see this role fitting into your long-term aspirations?
Okay, so this is your opportunity to really connect your personal goals with the opportunities that are available in this career path.
Okay.
So are you interested in specializing in a particular type of HVACR system, like residential, commercial, or industrial? Do you see yourself eventually moving into a management role or maybe exploring research and development?
You know, the RoleCatcher Career Guide actually outlines a bunch of potential paths you can take.
It does.
Like specializing in different types of systems, you can become a project manager, you could go into sales or consulting, even research and development. There's so many options.
So it's really about showing that you've thought about your future and how this particular role aligns with what you want to do.
And of course, continuous learning is important in this field.
It is.
Okay, so now for a question that can be a little tricky. Tell me about a time you made a mistake on a project. What did you learn from it?
Oh, yeah.
We all make mistakes, right? But it's how you handle them that matters.
It is. So choose an example where you made a genuine mistake,
Okay.
but then focus on what you learned from that experience and how it made you a better drafter.
Okay.
So did you develop a new process for checking your work more carefully? Did you change the way you communicate to prevent similar misunderstandings from happening in the future?
So it's about demonstrating self-awareness and a willingness to learn from those mistakes.
Exactly.
It shows you're not afraid to take ownership and that you're always striving to improve.
Right.
Okay, here's a scenario-based question. Imagine you're working on a project with a tight deadline, and you discover a major conflict between the HVACR design and the architectural plans. How would you approach this situation?
Okay, this question is really testing how well you think on your feet and how you handle pressure.
Yeah.
So the key is to show that you have a calm and methodical way of approaching things.
Okay.
So first, acknowledge the problem and how urgent it is,
Right.
and then outline all the steps you would take to gather more information, assess the different options, and then figure out a solution.
So I would consult with the engineers and architects involved.
Yes.
Explore alternative design solutions, maybe propose a revised timeline to accommodate those changes.
Exactly. And remember, communication is so important. You know, highlight your ability to communicate clearly and effectively with everybody involved
Yeah.
to find a solution that works for everyone.
So it's all about collaboration and finding the best possible outcome, even when you're under pressure.
Right.
Okay, here's a question that touches on a growing trend in the industry. How do you see the increasing use of building information modeling, or BIM, impacting the role of an HVACR drafter?
So BIM is really changing how buildings are designed and built.
It is.
And it's having a big impact on drafting. So this is your chance to show that you're not just aware of this technology, but that you also understand what it means for the job.
Okay, so RoleCatcher mentions that BIM allows for creating 3D models that integrate all aspects of a building's design,
Right.
including HVACR systems.
That's right.
And this allows for better coordination between all the different disciplines involved, and it helps identify potential conflicts early on.
Exactly. So as a drafter, you need to be familiar with BIM software and how it's used to create and manage these really complex models.
Right.
So highlight any experience you have with BIM and how it's improved your design process.
I could also mention how BIM is fostering greater collaboration between drafters, engineers, and architects, and ultimately leading to more efficient and sustainable building designs.
Absolutely. It's all about showing that you're comfortable with this new technology, but that you're also eager to embrace it and use it to make your work even better.
Okay, this next one is a bit more technical. Can you explain the difference between a variable refrigerant flow, or VRF system, and a traditional HVAC system, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of each?
Okay.
I feel like this one could really test my knowledge.
So this is your opportunity to show off your understanding of different HVACR technologies.
Okay.
So start by clearly explaining the core difference. VRF systems use variable speed compressors and multiple indoor units to give you customized temperature control in different zones,
Okay.
whereas traditional systems usually just use one compressor and ductwork for the whole building.
Right. And then I could talk about the advantages and disadvantages of each system.
To exactly highlight the energy efficiency, the flexibility, and how quiet VRF systems are, but also point out that they have a higher upfront cost
Okay.
and that they need specialized technicians to work on them for traditional systems. You can mention their lower initial cost, but maybe talk about their lower energy efficiency compared to VRF?
So it's about showing that you have a good understanding of the pros and cons of the different technologies.
Right.
Now, what if I get stumped on a technical question? What if I just don't know the answer?
Honesty is always the best policy.
Okay.
Don't try to make something up. Just acknowledge that there's a gap in your knowledge, but then highlight how eager you are to learn and your ability to do your research and find solutions.
Okay.
So you could say something like, I'm not familiar with that specific technology, but I'm really interested in learning more about it. I'm a quick learner, and I'm sure I could get up to speed quickly.
That's a great tip because it shows that you're not afraid to admit when you don't know something.
Right.
But you're also proactive about filling in those knowledge gaps. Okay, let's move on to a question about handling feedback. Tell me about a time you received constructive criticism on a design around.
Yeah.
How did you respond?
So this question is really about how professional you are and how well you handle feedback.
Yep.
So choose an example where you got some feedback that was maybe a little tough, but ultimately helped you improve.
Okay.
Describe how you listened to that feedback, how you processed it, and then how you actually used it to change your work.
Did I ask clarifying questions?
Mm-hmm.
Did I revise my design based on the suggestions? Did the final product improve? Because I took that feedback into account.
Exactly. It's all about showing that you're open to learning from other people, even if it's not always easy to hear.
Right.
It shows humility and that you're committed to always improving.
Speaking of handling tricky situations, how about this one? How do you handle disagreements or conflicts with colleagues or clients?
Oh, yeah.
Because conflicts are bound to happen in any workplace.
They are.
So it's important to show that you can manage those conflicts in a professional way.
Absolutely. So focus on your communication and problem-solving skills.
Yeah.
Do you really listen to other people's perspectives? Do you try to find common ground and solutions that work for everybody?
I could mention some techniques that I use, like active listening or conflict resolution strategies, or even mediation, if that's appropriate.
Exactly. It's all about showing that you're a team player who can handle these tough situations with diplomacy and grace.
Right.
It's not about who wins or loses.
Yeah.
It's about finding a resolution that lets everyone move forward productively. Okay, now let's shift to a question that lets your passion shine through. What excites you most about the HVACR industry, and why did you choose this career path?
Okay, so this is my chance to get enthusiastic. I can talk about what genuinely interests me about HVACR, whether it's the technical challenges, the sustainability aspect, or the opportunity to create comfortable and healthy indoor environments.
Yes, share your story and let the interviewer see your passion.
Okay.
Did you always like to figure out how things work? Were you inspired by a particular project or a mentor you had?
I think I do have a good story about how I got interested in HVACR. I was always tinkering with things as a kid, and I was just fascinated by how air conditioners worked. And then in high school, I had this physics teacher who really got me interested in thermodynamics and energy efficiency.
That's a great example. It really shows your genuine interest in the field, and it makes you more relatable.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap up this set of questions with one that looks ahead to the future. What do you see as the biggest trends shaping the future of HVACR, and how are you preparing to adapt to those changes?
Okay, so this question is all about showing my forward-thinking mindset and my commitment to staying ahead of the curve.
It is.
RoleCatcher highlights the increasing demand for net zero energy buildings, the integration of AI and machine learning into HVACR systems, and the growing importance of indoor air quality.
Right. So you could talk about how you stay informed about these trends. Are you reading industry publications? Are you going to conferences? Are you part of any online forums?
I actually just started taking an online course on energy modeling for HVAC systems.
Oh,
I thought it would be a good skill to have as the industry is moving more towards greater energy efficiency.
that's excellent. You're being really proactive about developing your skills to stay relevant in a field that's always changing, and that's something that interviewers love to see.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We tackled those technical questions, the behavioral scenarios, and even discussed the future of the industry. But before we wrap up this whole deep dive, I think it's time to go back to RoleCatcher's AI and talk about how it can help us prepare for specific interview questions.
Yeah, let's take a look at how those AI-powered tools can give us that targeted feedback and help us tailor our responses to different job descriptions.
All right, so we're back, and we're ready to really harness the power of RoleCatcher's AI
Yes.
to fine-tune those interview responses.
Okay.
So we've talked about how it can analyze job descriptions to see where your resume shines and even give you feedback on your interview answers.
Right.
But let's get specific. How can we use it to prepare for these HVAC and refrigeration drafter interviews?
So it's incredibly useful for tailoring your answers to each specific job that you're applying for.
Okay.
So let's say you find a job and it really emphasizes sustainability and LE certification.
Uh-huh.
RoleCatcher's AI can take that job description and figure out what the key themes are.
Okay.
And then it can suggest ways for you to weave those keywords and concepts into your answers.
Oh, that's interesting.
So instead of just saying, I'm familiar with building codes,
Yeah.
you can say something like, I'm really passionate about sustainable design, and I have experience incorporating LEED principles into my HVACR designs.
Right, so you're speaking their language.
Exactly. It helps you speak the language of that company in that specific role,
I see.
and it makes your answers much more targeted and impactful.
That makes sense, and it's not just about keywords.
Right.
RoleCatcher's AI can actually look at your responses and tell you if they're clear and concise and relevant,
It can.
and give you feedback on how to make them better.
Exactly. It's like having a virtual interview coach
I like that.
who can listen to you and say, you know, you're rambling a little bit there,
Mhm.
or you're using jargon that the interviewer might not understand.
It's helping you refine your answers.
It can help you polish your language, get rid of any filler words, and make sure your answers are clear and concise and that they're actually answering the question.
And that feedback is so valuable, especially if you're someone who gets nervous during interviews.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you get to have a practice run
Right.
with personalized feedback.
It is.
And knowing that your answers have been vetted by AI can boost your confidence going into that real interview.
Absolutely. It takes away some of the guesswork from interview prep,
Yeah.
and then you can really focus on showing off your skills and experience.
Right. And even if you're not using RoleCatcher's AI during the actual interview,
Yeah.
those insights that you've gotten from it can still help you shape your answers.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the technical side of the interview.
Right.
But there's something else that's really important that we can't forget about, and that's first impressions.
Oh, yeah. First impressions are huge.
So what are some tips for making a strong first impression?
So make sure to dress professionally, even if the company has a more casual dress code.
Okay.
It shows that you're taking this opportunity seriously.
Definitely. And being on time or even a few minutes early
Yes.
shows respect for the interviewer's time.
It does. And don't underestimate a good firm handshake and making eye contact. That shows confidence and that you're really engaged.
And just in general, be enthusiastic.
Yes.
Let your passion for HVACR shine through.
Enthusiasm is contagious. You know, talk about the projects that excite you. Talk about the technologies that you find fascinating and the impact that you want to make in this field.
And don't be afraid to ask your own questions.
Yes.
Because it shows that you're curious and engaged.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher even gives you some suggestions for good questions to ask.
Oh, that's right. So you could ask about the company's growth plans in the HVACR industry, or opportunities for professional development, or even just the day-to-day responsibilities of the role.
Those are all great questions because they show that you're thinking about the long term.
Right?
And how this role could fit into what you want to do in the future.
Exactly. And then after the interview, don't forget to follow up with a thank you note.
Yes.
Such a simple gesture, but it can really make a difference.
It can.
So to sum it all up, we've really explored this world of HVAC and refrigeration drafter interviews.
We have.
We've gone over common questions, we've practiced our responses, and we've even talked about how to use AI to make our approach even better.
Right.
Remember, preparation is key.
It is.
The more you practice, the more confident you'll be when you get those tough questions.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to show off your passion for this field.
Yes.
Let your enthusiasm shine through.
You got this.
You've got the knowledge,
Yeah.
the tools, and the insights to ace that interview. Good luck. And remember, you're not just designing systems.
That's right.
You're designing a more comfortable, efficient, and sustainable future.
That's what it's all about.